Hey, I'm Dale Dudley. I do 2 radio shows, and I've been at the same station for about 29 and a half years. I've been struggling with mental illness at least since I was 19 years old, but probably before that too, because my first experience in trying to get help, I think I was 19, 20 years old, and a little girl broke up with me, and I was devastated. And the devastation lasted a little bit longer than it should have. And it seemed as though I couldn't function. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't go to work. I lost a job. I was getting no sympathy at home. My father believed you pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. And finally, one day, I said, I'm going to have to go get some help or I'm not going to be here. So I went to a hospital in Tyler, Texas. And I sat on a gurney in the emergency room. And I remember the smiles on the faces of all the nurses. And there seemed to be a chuckle here and there. You got to remember, this is 1980. And finally, an old gentleman in a lab coat came in, and he had MHMR on the coat, which I knew was mental health, mental retardation. And I thought, finally, I have some help. And I was explaining what had been going on to this gentleman. And at the end of my conversation, he grabbed me by my lapels. He picked me up. I was much skinnier then. And he whispered in my ear, if you ever get me out of church on a Sunday morning again, I'll put you in the Terrell State Mental Hospital and you'll stay there until you die for the rest of your life. I had nowhere else to turn. I was going to take myself out. And I still to this day don't know how I held on, but I did it day by day by day. And eventually the mental health community caught up with the medical community. And I know now that if I go into an emergency room in Texas or anywhere else and tell them I'm having a panic attack, no one's going to laugh. No one's going to shame me. They're going to be friendly and talk to me because they know it's a real thing for a bunch of us. And since that time, luckily I haven't been hospitalized probably in the past 20 years, since the year 2000. And I know it's still there. It's going to always be with me. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed to talk about it on the radio. I'm not ashamed to call people out when they want to demonize it or criticize someone else. I've lived with it. It's my friend that stays back behind me, sometimes a little closer than I would like, but I know it's there. But I always know that there are friends, family, and clinicians now that I can reach out to whenever I find myself in a bad spot. And you should feel the same way. There's always someone there to help you. It's okay to say. Talk openly about mental health at okaytosay.org.